welcome and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Sigrid and I make videos about books because I love them. Today we're going to be doing another Black History Readathon reading vlog where I pick 5 books from a set of multiple books and I tell you guys my thoughts about it. You're going to end up with quite a lot of recommendations because I will be discussing way more than 5 books in this video. This is going to be the thriller edition, and might I say, I did not have a lot of thrillers on my shelf. This is my thriller shelf right here. Most of these, not authors of color. I did not know that thrillers were like a dying breed for Black people. Like, it was a struggle to find a Black thriller, but I found some. Okay, so the first book we have is Behind Her Lives, and this is by Brianna Cole. I actually learned about this one on a TikTok by the author. It was one of those fun TikToks where they tell you a story and you're like super into it, and then they're like, it's this book. But instead of just saying it's this book, she was just like, check out my book. And I actually commented and said, you got me. Like, I'm so enthralled in the story. Then we have Cherish Farah, and this is by Bethany C. Morrow. I'm a little nervous about this one being picked because I did not enjoy her Mermaid series. But this is a thriller, so I'm hoping that it is better. Then we have The Rumor Game, and this is by Danielle Clayton and Sonia Tarapotra. Then we have The Perishing by Natasha Dion. Then we have Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I am super excited. I pray that this is picked because I've wanted to read this for quite some time. We have A Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. Finally, we have Like a Sister by Kelly Garrett. I will be picking 5 books from this stack and reading them vlog style and telling you guys my thoughts about it. The 2 books that I do not pick, I will still kind of give you a summary of what it is about. That way you still can see if that book is something that you would like to check out. For picking the book, I'm going to be using one of these like random spinner apps. I've imported all of the books into the app and it's going to select 5 of them for me. Okay, so let's see what our first book is. The Game. The Rumor Game. I don't know why it's not like fully in there, but okay. I did do the speech to text thing because it was a lot of titles to input, but okay, so The Rumor Game is one of the picks. Let's move on. Okay, I really was excited to read this. I'm so happy that I get to read this in this video. Behind Her Lives is one of them. We're on to number 3, Black Cake. I finally will get to read Black Cake, you guys. I'm excited. So we have just 2 more. Let's see. Number 4. Okay, it picked Black Cake again, so I'm gonna spin again. Razorblade Tears. Oh my gosh, I get to read Razorblade Tears. Okay, so we have 4 picks, so let's see what our final book in this video would be. At this point, I'm about to just pick it myself. Okay, we got a different one. We got Cherish Farah. So not bad at all. So these are the picks that I will be reading for this video. We have The Rumor Game, Behind Her Lives, Black Cake, Razorblade Tears, and Cherish Farah. I'm gonna go over the other books that were not picked and let you guys know what they are about. So we have The Perishing. Oh my gosh, so I wish that I could have read this for this video. So this is kind of like it's a thriller, but there's also like a supernatural sci-fi kind of element to it, and I was living for that. So it follows Lou, and she is from the 1930s. Well, she wakes up in the 1930s in like an alley, and she has no memory of how she got there or who she is, and she is quickly taken in by a foster family. And she gets an education, and she becomes the first Black female journalist at the Los Angeles Times. And she ends up meeting this firefighter who, like, she doesn't have a memory of meeting him, but she's been drawing his face. So she's like, I must be an immortal sent here to make a difference in the world. I don't know. It sounds so good, does it not? I will probably pick this up on my own time, but I am intrigued, and I feel like this might be something that I really, really like. And the other pick that was not chosen is Like a Sister by Kelly Garrett. Okay, so this is more of a mystery instead of a thriller, but it follows a woman who she has a sister who is kind of like in a spotlight. So she's a little famous, and she ends up, her body is found after her 25th birthday, and a lot of people want to say that it is an overdose, but her sister is saying that she doesn't believe that, and so she drops everything and goes to kind of investigate her death. So this sounds really, really good. This is a book of the month pick, and thankfully in this video, book of the month actually came in handy because a lot of the picks came from my book of the month shelf. I could not find them on my regular thriller shelves. So if you guys are interested in signing up for book of the month subscription, I always put a link in the description box where you can get your first box for $5. It's pretty good. I like it. They also have audiobooks now. And I also do unboxings of book of the month every single month. So if that is something you want to see, definitely look for my playlist. I will include it here. But definitely look and check those out because I really do enjoy that subscription. Alright, so those were the books that were not picked. We're going to jump right in and start reading these books that were picked. And I'm going to tell you guys my overall thoughts of them. So I will see you guys in just a second after reading the first book. Okay, hi friends. So I am back, and I haven't updated you guys, but I have read 2 books already for this vlog, and we are starting off with a banger because the first 2 books that I've read were both 5 stars. So let me tell you about the first one that I read, Behind Her Lives by Brianna Cole. This one held up to my expectations. I was expecting this to be really good. I was expecting it to be a mystery that I could not solve. And that is exactly what it is. Because I am someone who really values not being able to guess what is going on or guess the main plot twist, because I feel like that ruins thrillers. But if it's done well, I could still guess it and it's still good. But I was able to guess like maybe the tip of the iceberg, and then there's like a whole nother thing that's going on that I had no clue. So this book follows a woman named Devin. Her and her sister, they're kind of like stepsisters. They have different fathers, but they grew up together up until the sister was 12 years old, and then she left to live with her father. And then the girls kind of met back up and became really close at 18. So Devin is awakened one day, and the police knocks on her door, and they say your sister just passed away in her house. She died from a drug overdose. And Devin is like completely taken aback because she is like, I know my sister, she does not do drugs. Like, this can't be real. And then she goes to the morgue to identify the body, and it's not her sister there. It's someone who looks similar, but it's not her sister. So she's completely confused. So this book follows her and several other characters in the story that's trying to figure out what happened to Devin's sister and who the hell is this lady like that died in her house. You will not guess what is going on. You will not be able to guess. And if you are, like, you are a super sleuth. It's so good. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. It was a very fast read, and I highly freaking recommend this book. It's so good. Okay, so moving on to the next book that I read that was 5 stars. What? You guys, I have been putting this book off for the longest of time, and I was just so taken aback. I think I like this one even better than Behind Her Lives. But this book, there are so many layers to this book. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like a mystery, but on top of that, it's like a statement. It's like a political freaking statement against racism, against homophobia, against transphobia. Like, it's so many layers that, like, I just literally wanted to cry, like, reading this book. It's so many emotions that you go through. You go through every single emotion in this book. Like, you're angry, you're crying, then you're smiling a little bit because, like, sometimes the characters will make a joke and it's kind of funny, it kind of lands. But it's just, okay, I haven't even told you guys what this book is about. This book follows Buddy Lee and Ike. Buddy Lee is a white man and Ike is a black man. They're both older guys. So their sons are married to each other, and then they were murdered one day, and they were not accepting of their love. They weren't accepting when they were alive. It took them being taken away for them to wake up and realize, like, it really does not matter who you love. Like, you really need to be accepting of your children. So this book basically follows them teaming up together to figure out who murdered their sons. It is just so good. I can't even... The best way I can describe this book is to say that it's like a Samuel L. Jackson movie. Now, if that is something that intrigues you, like if you watch, especially if you watch Shaft and you liked it, that's one of my favorite movies. I love Samuel L. Jackson. Like, every single one of his movies hit. This is exactly this. If they were to make this in a movie and they don't cast Samuel L. Jackson as Ike, I'm gonna riot. I'm going to be so upset. And I was thinking the entire time while I was reading it, who should be Buddy Lee? Like, who do we know that is like a white guy, older? So these are older men, so it can't be someone who's young. It has to be someone who is experienced, someone who can play someone who is like a redneck country white guy. And I was thinking, and the first person that came to my mind was Tommy Lee Jones. What do you guys think? If you've read this book, wouldn't Samuel L. Jackson for Ike and Tommy Lee Jones for Buddy Lee make a good, like, is there another, like, who else could it be? Like, who else would you put in their characters? Because I would watch that movie. I will watch that movie. It would be my new favorite movie. But so it just follows them trying to figure out what happened to their son and respecting people. Like, they're learning their lesson a little bit at a time. It does start off super homophobic. So if you're someone who is triggered by homophobia, racism, transphobic, it is all in this book. But by the end of the book, they are learning and becoming better human beings. I do have another book by S.A. Cosby, and I do plan on picking it up. I think it's called Blacktop Wasteland, and I can't wait to read that one. I love the writing style in this book. It's definitely raunchy. It's definitely like super country. They're in Virginia, which is close to me, but it's like, Virginia kind of reminds me of home. I'm from Alabama, so I, like, whenever I heard like some of the speech in here, I was just like, yep, that is country. But yeah, so it definitely goes there. It's very gory. There's a lot of violence in this book, and it's very much on page. It's very much, everything is spelled out, if that makes sense. So it's extremely graphic. If you're someone who is like me and you like violent things, then you would like this. But if you're someone who don't really like a lot of violent things to happen, this might not be the book for you. But it's a very emotional read, and I think that it makes such a big statement that I think it's super important to try to see if you like it. I'm gonna continue on with the rest of the books, but so far we are off to a really good start. And also, I am making really good times. I've read 2 books. I read this one yesterday and this one today, and I have a little bit of time to start on the 3rd book, and it's only Tuesday, so making good time. Okay, so I will see you guys later as I talk about my thoughts on the 3rd book. Hi guys, so I am back because I have finished reading another book, and I'm here to tell you guys my thoughts. So the next book that I read was The Rumor Game, and I read this as like a combination of some parts physically and some parts audibly. And might I say that this was super easy to read. Like, this was one of those books that I was like reading along just fine physically, and I am someone who struggles to read fast physically. Like, I can read physically, but it just takes me a really long time. So for projects like this, I tend to like to have the audiobook just to keep me on track. So this book has like some multimedia messages in here. Like, you'll see text messages, you'll see like victim statements, posters, emails. It's really like immersive. I rated this 5 stars, and when I was reading it, like towards the end, it was a solid 4.5. And then the ending, I just really liked how it was written. I really like everything that was in here. There's a lot of lip gloss on my lips. I really like how everything was written in here. And I have looked at Goodreads review, and a lot of people are saying that they didn't like certain things. But let me just get into it, okay? So this book follows a group of teenage girls that go to a DC prestigious academy, okay? And I like it because I'm currently living in Maryland and I'm really close to DC. So to see a book set in DC, like, it's really cool, but it doesn't really have anything memorable. Like, they do say like street names, but honestly it could have been anywhere in the world. But so this book follows 3 women. So it's Bryn, Cora, and Georgie. Bryn is someone that we meet early on, and we know that something happened like during the summer, but we don't really know exactly what happened. But she is being like ousted from like all social circles. Like, nobody likes her because she did something really, really bad, and we don't really get to know the gist of what happened until like later on in the story. Also follows Cora, who is my favorite character. She is the black character. She's the cheerleader captain. Like, she is that girl that everyone wants to be. So it follows her, and then it follows one more girl named Georgie. She is Indian, and Georgie's characters bring up a lot of the things that I feel like a lot of people have been like saying in the review that made them uncomfortable. So she is someone who struggles with her weight. She was sent to a weight loss camp, and she lost a drastic amount of weight. Now she is considered hot. And now, although she's lost weight, she is still having like these weird or unusual eating habits. For example, I think she was like looking at a pack of M&Ms, and she was like, oh, that's 200 calories. If I eat that, I would have to like not do this, or I would have to work out longer. So if those types of things are triggering to you, then yeah, that's in here. It's very kind of intense. It didn't bother me as much because I feel as though I personally think that way. I'm someone who struggles with her weight as well. I am currently trying to do weight loss as well, and like, I didn't really get offended by that. I didn't really get offended by that, but if you're someone who is like, you know, traumatized by things like that, then yes, that would definitely be an issue. Additionally, another really big issue that happens like towards the end is that there is a sexual assault kind of thing that happens here. It involves like a date rape and someone posting pictures of someone who is passed out and they're naked. So I just want to kind of say all of those things before I tell you what this book is about. So this book follows those girls, and they're at this really nice private school in DC. Bryn, the one who did something really bad and now no one likes her, she is the school president, and you know, she won that when everyone liked her, but now she has to return and be school president when no one likes her. And so people are trying to get her to step down. They're trying to force her to step down. And so she creates this plan to win her life back. So that is what this book is about. I feel like it's more of a social commentary of how rumors and gossip can really be traumatizing and ruining of your life. I just think that it was very well written, and I feel like all of the characters that was mentioned are super like three-dimensional. Like, they have so many other things going on with them. Like, I truly love it. So Bryn is someone who her life situation is that like she's having some issues with her parents. I believe her father had an affair on her mother, and her mother is having some mental issues right now. So she's dealing with all of that on top of like literally everyone hating her for something that she's done. Cora is someone who, she has a twin sister who is literally in Harvard at 17 years old. So being constantly compared to her twin sister Millie, like all the time by her parents, she never feels as though she can like hold up to that measurement. Like, she doesn't, even when she makes like a B on a test, she can't get excited about it because her sister is literally in Harvard. So Georgie is from a Indian family, and the stress is on. Her family is forcing her to like be the best of everything, and she has to take certain classes, she has to do certain programs that she doesn't want to do just to get into a college that she doesn't want to go to, because that's what her parents have like planned out. And so she not only is struggling with her weight, but she's also struggling with the pressure of just being perfect. And so you kind of see it all unravel in this book. And unfortunately, a lot of horrible things happen to Georgie. Like, she's definitely the brute of like all of the rumors, honestly, and it sucks. But seeing the mystery unfolds, it's one of those things where you know who the person doing everything is, but they don't know. And so you're sitting here like, they're idiots, because they won't guess like who it is until like 90% into the book. And it's so frustrating because you're like, that's not the right person. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on. And they're like literally putting all the pieces together like, who could this person be? And I'm like, girl. But I mean, it seemed obvious to us, but it might not be obvious to them. But like I said, this took me like 2 days to read because it's a really thick one, and I do have to work during the day. But I think it's really good. So I have started on Black Cake, which is the next book. I'm on page 24, and I have to say, I am not enjoying it. I kind of feel bored. And I do know, like, I don't know, like, is this gonna pick up? You guys can't answer me, but I just feel really bored. I'm on page 24, and I know I haven't read too far into it, but like, I went to the dentist today and I was like reading it in the dentist's office. And normally if I'm like bored and I have nothing else to do, there's nothing distracting me, normally I can just fly through a book. And I did read 24 pages, but it's not really interesting me at all. Like, I don't know, but I'm hoping that it will pick up, so I'll continue to read it, and hopefully I don't have to DNF it. But this one is just a little boring to me. The chapters are really short, by the way. It's like 2 pages. Like, this one right here is 1 page. It's literally half a page, and then it's another chapter. And it's following like 3 different people. So I'm gonna keep at it and see if it changes. But so far, I'm just not impressed with Black Cake. But we shall see. Okay, hi friends. So it's like 11 p.m. and I think that I'm gonna call it a day on this Black Cake book. I am so bored that I can barely keep my eyes open, and I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, does it get better? I don't know. I'm not in the mood to read this one. I've read 3 other really amazing books for this video, and I can't get to this one. It's just, I made it, how far did I make it? Okay, so I've made it to page 65, and I am still not liking this book. I'm not liking the way that it's written. I don't care about anything that's going on. This feels more like a historical fiction book. And you guys know how I feel about those books. Like, it's not going to work for me. So I'm going to call this one. I'm going to call this one a DNF because life is too short. Life is too short to be reading books that you are not into. And then also, I don't want to rate a book poorly when I see that it's not working. Yeah, so I'm going to call it. Hi, friends. So it is with great sadness that I must announce that I have DNF'd another book. I really gave it the college try. I think I made it to like 30% of the book, and I just was not having a good time at all. I knew going into it that this one was an author that I've tried before with her mermaid series. In both of the books, I think I gave it 3 stars, but I just really wasn't enjoying them. But I was like, you know what? This is a different genre. Maybe I just didn't like the fantasy novels. But no, like, when I was reading it, I just couldn't get into it. I didn't like the writing style, and I just did not care about any of the characters. I didn't care about the story. I was just reading just to finish it for this video. And honestly, it was going to put me in a reading slump, especially after trying Black Cake and feeling a similar way. I just couldn't do it. So I did DNF that book. However, I picked up another book that I just recently got that came out this month. And this one is called The Black Queen, and it's by Jamata Emil, and I have finished it, so I will be reviewing this one instead. So this book takes place in a town, a school where it's like, I'm not gonna say newly integrated, but it's kind of like there's white kids and then there was black kids from like another school that recently got shut down, and so now they're like all together. And they're still kind of separated because the white kids are in the AP classes and then the black kids are just like in regular classes. They have this new policy where they're trying to do a diversity thing. Yeah, so the way that they work it out is that one year they would have a black homecoming queen, and then the next one they would have a white one. This year they have their first black homecoming queen, and her name is Nova, and she is seen pictured here. She is the black queen, and unfortunately her time in this story is very short. So shortly after becoming homecoming queen, she is approached by Tinsley. Tinsley is a white girl whose family has consistently became homecoming queen in her high school. So it's kind of like a tradition for her as well. So it's really important. And she's asking Nova to drop out. And of course, Nova turns her down because this is really important for the black students to see a black homecoming queen. A little bit further into the book, Nova is murdered. Tinsley has been recorded in the past saying she wished she would have murdered Nova and buried her in the slave cemetery that Nova is always like doing community service on. And so that comes out around the same time as like when she's murdered. So everyone is just like, she obviously did it. So this book is just really Tinsley trying to prove her innocence. It was a really fun read. I read this in one sitting, and it was a good mystery. It was a good mystery. The overarching plot twist, I guessed. I feel like most people, like if you've read a lot of thrillers, you would probably guess like the main plot twist. But as far as like knowing like who killed Nova and why, I was a little off. Like I was a little off. So I would say I really enjoyed this book. I really did. It was so, I'm not going to say fun, but kind of fun. It was like we're solving a mystery. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Nancy Drew, where it's like you're like figuring out the clues. And then not only that, it definitely does this thing where it's like you don't know who the killer is, which I don't really see a lot in thrillers. Normally it's just kind of like we don't know who it is and then we find out. But this one is kind of like we don't know who it is and then we suspect this person and then we suspect this person and then we suspect this person and then we find out. And it's none of the people that we suspected. Like I didn't suspect who it was, not one time. It was one character that did something suspicious. And I was like, yep, they did it. It was them. It's definitely them. And it was not them. Let me get into some triggers. Obviously, murder. Yeah. There is also a side plot of a teacher-student relationship, and this is a high school, so very, very not okay. There's a little bit of racism. Definitely have some systemic racism in here. Definitely some Black Lives Matter kind of plot, because in this, there's like also another case that's going on where it's like a black person is being accused, and you get to see like how the police is like, you know, how they are. It goes from Tinsley's point of view to Duchess's point of view. Duchess was Nova's best friend, so Tinsley and Duchess will eventually start to work together to figure out who actually murdered Nova. There is some LGBTQ representation in here. Another trigger is cheating, definitely cheating, and there is a mention, like a little side plot of sexual assault of a minor by a relative, so that's all in here. I would say that this book was really, really good. I think ultimately I will give it a 4.5 star. I feel like it, although it was really, really good, I don't think it was a 5-star, but it was very, very close. I truly enjoyed this book and I highly recommend it. It definitely held up. to my expectations. I knew I was going to love this one, and it pulled me right out of that reading slump. So if you are someone who is in a reading slump, this one might take care of you. So I would pick this up immediately. Definitely worth the read. Okay, hi friends. So that was everything for my thriller reading vlog. And I would say if there's anything that you get out of this video other than the many recommendations that I was able to provide, is that if you are not feeling a book, there is no problem with DNFing it, because if you do not DNF books, it's going to put you into a reading slump, which is going to prevent you from reading really amazing books in the future. So no regrets. I ended up finding another book that I really enjoyed, so I hope this vlog was really interesting to you guys and that you like it. But until next time, I will see you guys later.